In this 3D space, our consensual time-space reality, it is possible to construct a prison with physical walls and also with fears. In the astral, physical walls don't work, but fear does. Once one masters their own fears, they become uncontrollable, ungovernable, and truly a free spirit, a creator. So stay tuned for this gruesome affair. I escaped prison with astral projection. Now they're trying to learn my secrets.
Finding yourself in the talons of an owl in the shadows of the forest moonlight. It's a gruesome affair.
Things got kinda crazy in there. The clinker, as some call it. 9 years. Life inside, redacted, is another thing. Not like the movies. Not like you'd imagine. I'll never tell you everything, but I will tell you how I left the confines of the 3D material prison without my body. Some things can only be understood if experienced. I may as well just tell you I lived in a rabbit hole the whole time. Remember they were letting prisoners out of prison for concerns of COVID during the pandemic? The narrative they showed on the media said that they were concerned the prisoners would be safer out of the prisons and detention centers than inside. What a joke. But like Richard Nixon said, Americans will believe anything they see on TV. Most, that is. Letting the prisoners out was really just to turn up the heat on the street. This is the bitter truth. Like in The Wizard of Oz when they release flying monkeys. I wasn't so lucky. I served my time. I didn't get a free pass on account of some media mind control pandemic narrative. Maybe it's because, in my heart, I'm one of the good guys. A light worker. A light worker who has seen a lot of truth. As fate turns out, I did leave the prison. I escaped on my own, just not with my body. Once you learn how to really astral project, it's like a whole new neighborhood where you have to watch your back. And like neighborhoods, the elements, good and bad, can follow you out. I got out in June 2022. It felt good to be free. Now I'm an honest man, mostly. The whole thing is about circumstance, but that's another story for another day. Finding work was easy. Liking the work was not easy, but I had a few extra ways to make some income too, one of which was a strange call I got on a Monday night this past summer, 2022. I answered the call.
Nathan?
That's not my real name. Yes, I said.
I understand you are recently released from redacted rehabilitation center?
Yes, I said.
It is my understanding that you were able to escape the confines of the prison consciously, mentally. Is this correct?
He asked. Look, I don't know why you're calling me, and I'm not interested in talking to some random person about freaky realms while doing time, I said. I thought to just hang up, but listened.
Just a minute of your time, sir,
the voice said.
We are doing some research and would like to interview and make a record of your experience,
he said. Not interested, I said.
This is an area where we, humanity, have a lot to learn, and your experiences can help us understand this extraordinary phenomenon,
he said. Why are you bothering me? I just want to be left alone, I said.
Aside from giving your knowledge to help humanity, there is an incentive involved,
he said. Payment incentive? I said questioningly, and then there was silence. What kind of payment incentive are we talking about? I asked. He named an amount. It was not something that would change my life, but it would cover my costs for that month, and then some. I had let that period go, but such an incentive, it just seemed like some easy money. What do you want me to do? I asked.
We'd like for you to come to Redacted University for a filmed interview. This will just be an hour of your time. A further payment may be offered if you are willing to continue further research,
he said. I was silent. So, you want me to be some kind of astral guinea pig or what? I said.
No, nothing like that. We want to learn from your extraordinary experience, and we would like to reward you for your sharing,
he said.
What do we do from here?
I asked.
I will send you an email. With the provided link, you can book a time which is to your convenience. We also offer times in the evening and on weekends. The address and other relevant information will be provided with the booking system,
he said. Okay, I said.
Are you interested in moving further in the process?
He asked. Fuck it, just sign me up, I said. Do you need my email address? I asked.
We already have that,
he said.
You will receive a system-generated email with instructions during the next 48 hours. Unless you have any other questions, we are done for now. Do you have any other questions, Nathan?
He asked. No, I said.
Thank you for your time today. Goodbye,
the voice said, and click. That was it, for now. The email arrived just an hour later. I was working 2 jobs, one legal and one not so legal. I was usually free on Sunday nights, so I chose a time slot at the end of the week on my night off. I didn't want to do it, but I also was a bit curious what would happen, what they would ask, and why they were so interested. I had my ideas, but wanted to see what they knew and get a little cold cash while I was at it. The week flew by, and I found myself at the address provided by the booking system. It was a building on the campus of Redacted University. I actually just biked there almost an hour to get there. At one point, 2 pro-looking cyclists passed me. One said loudly, "Hey, you know Elvis is in town this week?" And the other replied, "Sure, and I hear Bigfoot is doing the warm-up." That was weird. I was biking across to the other side of town, so this hour of my time was already at least tripled. As I walked onto the campus to find the building of interest, I looked up on a concrete wall and read the words, Mason Hall, and next to that, Center for Genocide Studies. I laughed to myself. Unreal. I found the research center and went in. There was a waiting room. It was quite fashionable. It had a minimalistic style with a magazine rack. I looked at the magazines. I don't read these anymore. I grabbed a copy of a men's magazine and flipped through it. I looked at the cologne ads, watch ads, and car ads. They want us to think being a man is being a consumer slave, I thought to myself. The door opened and a woman around 30 years in age shyly said, "Nathan Callister?" I stood up and followed her. She said that she would be assisting me to the interview and walked me to a small interview room. I caught the number of the interview room. 201, that number. The room was very simple and white with institutional lighting, but there were framed posters of what looked like some Italian or French Renaissance art, maybe Caravaggio. I always think of that artist when I see art like this. There was a table with another stack of magazines, a wood tray, and a French press filled with fresh coffee, a water canteen, and an assortment of mugs and glasses. There were also fresh strawberries and some crackers. These guys seemed to be doing a class act. There were 3 chairs, Nordic in fashion. The only table was more like a coffee table. As the door had not closed, in walked a man. He seemed kind but direct. His hair was white. He looked intelligent. He seemed to be some kind of professor or high-level researcher. "Hello, Nathan. My name is Dr. John Keene. I am the head of research for a program that is being conducted by an organization called the Lincoln Institute of Neurological Sciences," he said. Lincoln Institute? I asked. Yes. We are refining methods for how to communicate, travel, and influence this realm solely using human consciousness as the vehicle, he said. Human consciousness? I asked. Yes, he said. It's amazing, it's real, and you'd be surprised who's using this technology, he said. Technology? I asked. Technology, he said. Nathan, time is of the essence. My colleague Barbara will fit the resonance monitor headset, he added. What the? I said as she slipped on a headset, which was like a lightweight set of headphones, only it touched my scalp in several places and left my ears open. It's like an EEG, but more up to date, she said. It's just to monitor your resonance frequencies during the interview. After this, she set a small device on the table with a camera lens and a felt top like a speaker and microphone. The interview will also be recorded. Are you ready to begin? He said. I didn't agree to have some Star Trek headset on my head and star in some video when I came in here, I said. Nathan, we're not meeting just for coffee here. Although you are welcome to have a coffee or water if you wish, we are conducting research. You are free to cancel the interview now if you wish, but we would like to begin. Shall we begin? He asked. Okay, let's just get on with it, I said. The doctor stated some facts about me for the recording, my full name, a brief bio about me, and a summary, as well as today's time and date. Then he turned to me and began to ask questions. When was the first time you began to understand the other realm? He asked. It was about 2015 when you're on the inside. Things like cigarettes become a precious commodity, and they kept moving around my cell, I said. Moving around? Dr. Keene said. Specifically how? He asked. Well, the first time it happened, I thought someone was just messing with me. I left my pack of cigarettes on the desk in the cell. I knew they were there. I went to sleep, and the next day, they were not there. Did they disappear? He asked. No. I found the pack under my bed on the floor. I didn't think much of it. More like, oh, that's weird, but it kept happening again and again, I said. Were they relocated to the same destination spot every time? He asked. No, sometimes, but I caught on to the game, so I began playing tricks with it. They would sometimes be on the floor, in different places, or on my chest, and a few times on the windowsill. There was a windowsill in your prison cell? He asked. It was just enough to balance a pack of cigarettes on its side. I think it was moved there just to let me know that someone or something is definitely fucking with me, I said. Did you react to this? He asked. Yes. At first, I thought it was just me, and then later, I realized that there is just no way, and I thought that someone, maybe one of the guards or someone with access to my cell, was playing a hoax on me, moving the cigarette pack every night to fuck with me. So I tried a few things. I got some salt from the dining hall and placed it on the floor just behind the door, in a way that the door could not be opened without disturbing the line of salt. In the morning, the pack of cigarettes had moved, but the salt was untouched. I knew something unexpected was happening. Another time, I gently placed a hair on the cell door in a way that even gently opening the door would definitely move the hair. That too was untouched there in the morning, and the pack of cigarettes changed location. I knew the cell was locked, and I was the only one in there, and some unseen force was making these things happen, I said. Did you inform any of the other inmates or staff about this phenomenon? He asked. I asked some of them if they had similar experiences, I said. What did they say? He asked. Mostly no, but some yes, I answered. Dr. Keene looked at his assistant, Barbara, and they seemed to communicate with each other with a glance and an eyebrow angle that this is what they expected.
Did you have any other reactions to the phenomenon?
He asked. I mean, what else could I do? I knew it was something not human, at least physically, not of this world, the 3D. I knew I couldn't explain it and wouldn't get an explanation. So I was just glad that my prized cigarettes were still in the cell in the morning, even if in a new random place each morning. I answered.
Okay, explain how the phenomenon developed from there,
he said. Look, it gives me the creeps just remembering this. Never mind talking about it. It's not something I wanted to experience. This is not what I wanted to happen. I didn't want to be there, and definitely didn't want this freaky hide-and-go-seek game going on by some ghost or whatever. I said.
What happened next?
He said sternly. I began drifting out of my body. You don't know what it's like to be confined to a small cell day in and day out for years. It's 24/7, 365. It's like that book, The Power of Now, but you wonder when the now is going to finally end and give you a moment of peace. When you are out, you are always watched, and you are always watching. You can't trust anyone in there. You can feel the energy, and it's low. The guards are dirtier than the inmates. The safest place to be is in your cell, but it's just you. Hours blur into days, blur into weeks. You lose track of time, and then objects start moving around when you drift in and out of consciousness until this all becomes your normal, I said.
Drift out of consciousness?
He asked. Yes, sleep. That was the one escape I had, until even that wasn't, I said.
Nathan, please explain what you mean by that.
He asked. I would drift out of my body. The first time it happened, I thought I was waking up, but I felt paralyzed. There was a few moments where vibrations went through my body. Just thinking about it now is giving me goosebumps. I felt like I couldn't move my body. It was frozen, but I was very close to the ceiling, about halfway up. I was floating in the middle of the room, above my physical body. I could see it. I could see everything. It was silent, dead silent. Like, even if there was a sound, I wouldn't hear it in this version of reality or dimension or wherever I was. I said.
Was there a bright light?
Dr. Keene asked. No. The ambient lighting was similar, maybe darker and less clear actually, but close to the same, just dimmer and fuzzier, I said. It happened more and more, and every time I just fought it to get back into my body. I was unable to move, and I didn't know if I was dead this time, or alive, paralyzed, or not, or if I was going to run into some bad entities, I said.
Entities, he said. Did you see any? He asked.
No, but I felt them. There are energies in that realm, negative energies, like astral parasites. You can feel them tapping your energy. There's good energies there too, I said.
Did you feel anything? Warm or cold, pressure, anything?
He asked. Mostly no, just the silence, but sometimes a buzzing in my head, like a static or ringing that seems like it is coming from inside my head. I said I would visualize white light around my energy field because I felt doing this would protect me from the demons. They are parasites, trickster entities, like astral aliens or malevolent thought forms. They are why the demons are there, I said.
Are they there because of all the bad people? Criminals?
He asked. No, I said, not bad people. The evil thought forms are there to harvest because the people there are, I said.
Are what?
he asked. More vulnerable, I said. There was silence. Dr. Keene and his assistant exchanged glances. I was getting really sick of this. I just wanted to forget that all this happened. I was really getting sick in my stomach and felt uneasy. I have no interest in going back to any of these places. I work at a rental car agency now. It doesn't pay well, but I show up, I pay my taxes, I get to be alive and see real people every day now. I like that. How did the phenomenon develop from there? He asked. It just got more intense. One night, I think it was 2017, spring, I not only floated up, I floated out the window. I said. You left the facility? He asked. Yeah, I floated right out and up, above the trees, above the buildings, above everything. I could see the whole damn place. Could you see the people? He asked. I could see it all, everything and everyone. I was floating up there, looking down at everything. I said. How did you feel? He asked. I felt horrible. I feel horrible right now just thinking about it. Every time you are out of there, you feel paralyzed and surrounded by entities without knowing how to protect yourself, and you aren't sure if this is the time that you're dead or not, and the silence, or other times, the buzzing. I don't know which one is worse. You don't want to be awake, you don't want to be asleep, because then this happens. So, you have no escape. You can't trust anyone or anything. You just want to get your body and get away from it all. But your body is back there in that cell, locked up, trapped in the 3D. It's a trap in a trap in a trap. And all you want to do is get out. I said. Fuck, I want to get out of this room right now. I said, and I put my hand on the head monitor to pull it off. But I hesitated a second. You will only receive the incentive if you complete the interview. Shall we continue? We can do a breathing exercise to de-escalate your state if that will help, he asked. I took a slow, deep breath in. Let's just continue, I said hesitantly. How did the phenomenon develop from there, Nathan? He asked. I couldn't escape it, so I just submitted. I gave into it. It was unavoidable. So I started to enter with intention, I said. What did you do? He asked. I still wasn't sure if this was real or imagination or what. So when I drifted out of my body, I started visiting other inmates' cells. First, I went to the next, and I could see everything with clarity. I rummaged through his stuff, and sure enough, I found his cigarettes, his books, his clothes. The next day, I asked him what he was reading and if he had any cigarettes. He lied and said he had no cigarettes, but he did. I knew where they were. And about the book, he told the truth. He told me what he was reading, but I already knew it. I said. And what was you reading? Dr. Keene asked. He was reading a book called Walden, Life in the Woods by David Thoreau. When you serve time, many of the comforting illusions about life and society vanish, and one begins to accept reality. Bitter reality becomes your comfort drug of choice, at least for me. I said, dreams speak to us. They have a language. This can be learned. There's value in it, I added. You learn to recognize and understand the symbols, the relationship of dimensions, and understand where people are at in their individual awareness and see their true intentions. It's energetic, I said. It's like swimming in water. Some like it, and some just don't. I don't like it, and I don't like talking to you or your sassy assistant. When does this interview end already? I asked. Dr. Keene sat back in his chair and breathed out a sigh. One more topic, he said. Could you influence any objects while projecting, move them physically, or have any kind of actual material effect on anything material in the 3D? He asked. No, I never tried anything like that, I said. Nothing, he persisted. Nothing, I insisted. Absolutely nothing. He persisted further. How many times are you going to ask the same damn question? I said, getting irritated. When does this hour end already? I asked. That's it for now, he said. He glanced at Barbara and did a subtle head gesture. I'm going to just remove the headset, she said, and she moved her hands to the headset. I could feel the warmth emanating from her hands, even though they didn't touch my skin. All set, she said, and she powered the headset off with a long press on a button and exited the room. Dr. Keene and I were alone in the room together. Thank you for your time today, Nathan. Barbara will provide you with the incentive we pay out in cash, he said. I was eager to get the money and get the hell out of there. You answered all the questions honestly, correct? He said. This lab rat professor was really starting to irritate me more and more. Of course, I said stiffly. Barbara returned and handed me an envelope. Here's the incentive with some information, and you will be receiving an email that contains a quick questionnaire about your experience today. Thank you, Nathan. We have enjoyed this interview, she said. I guess he lets her handle the money and the goodbyes. I said a quick goodbye, took the envelope, and jetted out of there. I didn't want to go anywhere as much as just away from them, away from their questions, and away from the memories that they were asking me to relive. As I cycled home, I was glad I lied to them. I don't trust them. I think this is some government thing, and the last thing I want is for some hell-bent propaganda war machine like their master to figure out how to influence matter in the 3D from the Astral. Some say it can't be done, but it can. I haven't just seen it, I know how to do it. It's taxing. It takes a lot of energy, and I don't enjoy it. Think of it like doing push-ups, but with your mind, while in a reality that seems unreal. The fact is, when you have that much time on your hands, you start to figure out how some things really work. Just for the fun of it, I went around the prison in the Astral, moving things around just to mess with people, just like they did to me. I could move lighter things, paper, dust, and with focused concentration, a half-full pack of cigarettes. I don't even know how it works. I just know I could only do it if the loop didn't connect in 3D. I couldn't see that the pack was moved. If I did, it didn't work. I could only do it if nobody knew I did it, and they never told me. I can't explain it, but it's like the loop won't make sense in 3D, so you do it in the Astral and let people wonder how it was done, and meanwhile, someone I don't know is doing it to other objects, usually a pack of cigarettes or something lightweight in my cell, so there are definitely many others who can do this. I don't think the government or the secret government behind the scenes knows how to use this technology, but I'll be damned if I'm going to be the one to tell them. But yeah, I can move things. So, if something or some object changes location in your space, it might just be someone or some energy form from another reality plane messing around, and it works as long as you never tell them.
It works as long as you never tell them. As long as you never tell them. As long as you never tell them. As long as you never tell them.
To my forest friends, thank you for listening to another horrible tale. Dusk is a time of transition. It is an owl's wake-up call. As the shadows grow longer and darkness takes over, the only thing to really fear is fear itself. So be still in the storm, and I promise you, you will be safe. Please help this channel grow to 10,000 subscribers by ripping at the subscribe button and scratching a comment. I read every single comment here and am honored and energized by each new subscriber. More tales are in the works, so I hope to see you very soon here on the Smoking Owl Tales channel on another night very soon.
On another night very soon. Another night very soon. Another night very soon. Night very soon.